There must be zero tolerance for any judge who violate the slightest paragraph of the law or their oath of office. There must be zero. The title, Your Honor, comes with a hefty responsibility and judicial consequences. The title, how many of you believe, comes with a hefty judicial arrogance and has no place in the courtroom? How many of you believe there should be prosecutory consequences for officers of the court? How many violate litigants' rights? How many of you believe prosecutory consequences, judicial for immunity of the court is fatal to the rule of law? How many of you believe judicial reform in Florida, both trial and appellate courts, should be a priority ballot initiative? Judicial reform in Florida, both trial and appellate court, there should be zero tolerance for any judge who violates the slightest paragraph of the law or their oath of office. The title, Your Honor, comes with a hefty responsibility and judicial consequences. How many of you believe judicial arrogance has no place in the courtroom? How many of you believe there should be prosecutory consequences for officers of the court who violate litigants' rights? How many of you believe judicial immunity is fatal to the rule of law? How many of you believe judicial reform in Florida, both trial and appellate courts, should be a priority ballot initiative? How many of you believe it's an inherent conflict of interest for an attorney to be a judge? How many of you believe if everyday citizens can sit as a juror in a capital case, everyday people can be elected by the people as pro se judge? How many of you believe collusion by officers of the court, judges and attorney versus state law, constitution, and you is a fatal reality to fair and impartial hearings? How many of you believe, like the state attorney's office that prosecute law violators, there should be a community attorney's office that represent pro se litigants and stand in court as the voice of the law, just like the state attorney's office and the Constitution? And the community attorney's office should be fully funded by federal tax dollars and other grant and subsidies to ensure the law is upheld in civil proceedings, protecting all parties' rights, just like the state attorney. Prosecutors are the voice of the law and victims' rights of protection. The community attorney should be sworn federal marshals with indictment and subsequent arrest authority. How many of you believe officers of the court found in violation of litigants' due process rights out of ignorance or arrogance should be suspended as a judge, trier of fact, officer of the court for 3 months without pay? How many of you believe today these reform measures, if voted into law by Florida voters, will bring back the true meaning of his or her honor to the courts and weed out dishonest individuals seeking power and abuse of authority with hidden agendas? How many of you believe anyone in good standing, honest, dedicated to duty, and serving others can sit as a juror or a judge and should be elected to office of judge by popular vote of the people, regardless to any law degree? History shows law degrees don't stop judicial corruption. History shows the JQC don't stop judicial corruption. History shows Florida bar have no control over judicial corruption. History shows the state attorneys are too busy to address judicial corruption. Judicial corruption is a task of the people through legislation and ballot reform. Judicial corruption is ultimately the jurisdiction of the FBI, Public Corruption Task Force. Judges who violate the law are criminals. Criminals are charged, arrested, and prosecuted. I'm just saying. What do you think? How many believe that? Walk away, crying.